Hello, hello. All right. So here we go again. Another Sunday night. And this is about 10:40 p.m. We go live a little bit later than our usual time, but here's what we do, right? All right. If this is the first time you see me, welcome back to Ask Jason Anything about meta advertising and digital marketing. If this is the first time we meet. Welcome to my universe. Thanks for joining us. My name is Jason. I'm a meta ads optimization strategist based in Malaysia. So what I do is I work with brands to optimize meta advertising campaigns. So mainly if you have been running ads, you want to take it to the next level. That's what I do. And if you have been running ads, you can't really figure out how to really find a very stable and predictable way to get consistent results. That's what I do as well. So what I do is, I help clients. I help my clients to strategize. First, I empower my client by guiding them on how to really use the data or the metrics available in meta advertising to really understand the performance of the campaign, to find out what's wrong and what's right. And eventually, with that, we are able to make informed decisions, because a lot of advertisers, I realize, they make decisions based on gut feeling. As in, like when you run ads, when a campaign suddenly stops working, what you usually do, you just turn off the campaign, right? And then you thought that you restart everything again, everything's gonna be all right. That's not the case. So eventually, my avocation is, I always like to encourage my clients, or whatever we do when if we run ads, it's important to find out what's not working, so that we won't be making the same mistake in the future. So that's the whole idea. Now, if we have a good campaign, I also encourage first to find out why this campaign is performing, because with that, we are able to scale predictably, and we are able to know when we scale what are the metrics to watch and stuff like that. So that's what I do. If you are interested to work together, I've got a link on my YouTube channel where you can book a one-on-one discussion to see whether we are good fit to work together. So yeah, you may find the link available. So let me bring up the screen. But what I do here is I mainly, I mainly go live every Sunday night between 10 to 11 p.m. On my YouTube channel. And what I mainly do here is I answer questions, right? Like what I'm going to do. I've got some questions from my community. Usually I just answer the questions. If you have any questions regarding meta advertising, first thing I would like you to go to my YouTube channel, try to search for some answers, because I've done over 1,000 videos in the past 5 years or so, mainly answering questions like this. So chances are I probably have answered something similar to your challenge that you're facing right now. So if you can find an answer, great. Get it fixed and then move on to what you need to do. But if you cannot find an answer, don't worry. All you need to do is just post your question as a comment on any of my YouTube videos. What I'm going to do is I'm going to screenshot and I'm going to bring it up over here to answer questions live. So that's the drill. All right. So every week we go live for 30 minutes. But just in case you want something more personalized, you need help, really, like one-on-one discussion to see what's happening to your campaign, or even to analyze your metrics to find out what's working or what's not working, which is what I usually do best. Even to answer certain questions, to look at certain settings, to see whether is there anything wrong and all that. So yeah, you can use this thing to book a one-on-one discussion with me via Zoom. So it's just you and me. Everything is going to be recorded. You'll get a recording. And we can just go over, you can share a screen, we can do whatever we need to do in order to make your campaign works better, or to address whatever challenges that you're facing right now. So if that's something that you're looking for, then scan this QR code, and I look forward to work with you. All right, without further ado, let's dive into the first question. I have this question coming from AMSH Jewel. So the question is, if you have two different categories, one in health and the other one is home decor, if you run different campaigns, the sales slow down. Oh, you think you're about you want to start two different ad accounts? Is that what you mean? So yeah. Now, should you start a new ad account when you want to run ads for a totally different business compared to what you're running right now? The answer is yes. Because based on my past experience, because I've worked with clients that, like run ads for multiple businesses, like what you're saying. One is in home decor, the other one is in, baby products, the other one is in, like, the hardware business, which is the home hardware and stuff like that. We realize, first thing first, when you have multiple like ads for multiple businesses, it's very difficult for you to really take care of it in one ads manager alone. So you may have too many campaigns in one ads manager. Eventually, that makes the whole thing a little bit messy. But on top of that, what we realize is Meta actually learn based on, as in like Meta Ads Manager, learn better if you are actually running it for one single category. So yeah, especially if you're running ads for totally different, diverse categories, then it's totally advisable to have a new business ad account per se. But then again, when it comes to this part, I would encourage for us to have like a different structure. So some clients wants to share audiences between the ad account, which is possible. But the whole idea here is you want to actually link all of them into one business portfolio. Even when it comes to business portfolio, it's up to you whether you want to have the multiple. But if it's, like there are different ways, right? If you are running different companies, it's actually recommended to have different business portfolio, as in like company A has got one business portfolio where you have the page and then the ad account and the pixel in it. And company B would have a different business portfolio where the page, the ad account, the pixel, and everything is going to be in it. But having said that, I've got some of my clients who wants to simplify the management. They do one business portfolio with multiple ad accounts and multiple pages. That's completely fine. So it's really up to you, because the billing and all that is it's actually tied to ad account. So you will have different sets of billing. You can set different company for different ad account, even though it shares the same credit card, which is not a big deal. But then again, the key here is I want you to know that if your business are related, so over here you talk about health, the other one is home decor. I'm not 100% sure whether your audience do cross path, as in like, your health audience may need some products from home decor and something like that. But some of my clients who are actually kind of similar, like one of them is in baby product, the other one is in, like maybe mom and care products, or for example, there are different companies, there are different ad account, but then again, we do share the audience one to another. So I want you to know that it's possible for you to share audiences, especially, let's say, for example, if one business has been around for a while, let's say, business A. So if these two are related, you can actually leverage on business A's audiences to run ads for business B to actually help it grow faster, because you can try to find people who have bought from you before, from business A, for them to see the ads on the business B, and so on and so forth. These are all the possibilities that you can do. So everything can be done in the business portfolio, and then eventually you're able to create audiences, especially like when you can create lookalike audiences, custom audiences to be shared between business ad accounts. So those are the things that you can do. But eventually, I just want to let you know what are the possibilities. But you are right. Eventually, if you're running ads for different businesses which are diversely different, you should consider having different ad account. Okay, so yeah, so that's my answer, but I hope I do give you different context to look into, as in how do you want to manage the structure and all that. But just in case you need help, you can actually book a one-on-one discussion with me, because it's easier for me to really understand your business need, for me to make informed recommendations, as in like the better recommendations based on like your situation, what would be the best direction, whether you want to have multiple business portfolio, and if you need help learning how to share audiences between the ad account and stuff like that. These are all the things that we can discuss. Scan this QR code, book a discussion over Zoom, and then we can go through whatever challenges that you are facing right now. All right, thanks. Now, the next question I get a lot here is always about how to check Meta ads performance. Now, I always like to say it's very easy to start running ads, but the next tricky thing is how do you know whether it's working or not? So I'm just going to quickly go into an ads manager to tell you what are the metrics that you should be looking at. So when you run ads, all right, basically this is the ads manager. The best way to find out whether your campaign is working or not is to do this in the ads manager. Don't tell me that you are reading the metrics on the phone apps or whatever. Those are incomplete. You have to come in here to look at it. Now, this is the way I used to analyze campaigns for my clients for a long time. And I'm going to give you a few metrics to look into. So you have to be here. So basically, this is the ads manager. All right. So as you're in the ads manager, usually you'll be looking at the performance metric, which is the default. So you get, ad spend, budget, and then eventually you have got your impressions, reach, ends when, and bid strategy. These are all the basic metrics. So what are the other metrics that we put out? Let me actually go in. So what I just did, okay, I click on the over here there is a columns performance, and if you scroll to the bottom, you have got custom columns. So a few simple fundamental metrics that you really need to know is, first, I go for CTR, all right, and then I go for CPM, okay, and I go for frequency, and of course I go for like basically these are the few things: clicks, link clicks, CPC. I'm talking about general basic fundamentals you need to know. So results, so if you want to go by results, cost per results, and stuff like that. So I'm just going to go with that. So basically, here's where we go, right? First, we look at the CTR. Now, CTR stands for the percentage of people who click on the call to action button of your ad. Basically, I used to look at CTR all, which actually stands for the percentage of people who click on anything on the ad, including the like button, play the video and stuff like that. But to be more specific, to simplify the whole thing, nowadays I only look at the CTR link click-through rate. So basically, the benchmark for CTR link click-through rate is 1%. So if your CTR link click-through rate is below 1%, by, say, for example, if it's below 0.5%, then it's a high possibility that your ad creative is not working. But if you are at that situation, you may want to also pull out your CTR all to look at the differences between the CTR all and CTR link click rate. If the gap is way too big, then it probably will even further identify that, look, it's the ad problem, because the ad probably get a lot of people to watch the video, but very little to click on the ad. So there are a few angles to look at this, but fundamentally CTR is usually the metric for us to identify whether the ad is working or not, right? Then we are in the CPM. Now, CPM, there is no benchmark per se, but we usually benchmark based on the previous campaign, right? So let's say if you've been running sales campaign and your CPM is about, like, say, for example, $10. And out of a sudden, when you run ads this time, the CPM shot up to maybe $20. So that's not a good thing. Especially if you're using the same audiences in the past, then we probably have to look into what are the possibilities of why your CPM is way too high. So there are a few reasons why CPM is high. Probably first thing first is you're running ads at the peak season, whereby there are a lot of advertisers running ads in the market itself. So that will push the CPM to become high. So what is the pros and cons when it comes to CPM? I mean, eventually too high, it's a bad thing. So why is it bad? Say, for example, if your normal CPM is $10, and all of a sudden when you run ads right now, the CPM shot up to 20, which means fundamentally, your cost per result, as in like cost of running ads, has doubled. I mean, imagine back then you used to be able to reach your audience 1,000 times by spending $10. Now it becomes 20, which means if you're continuously spending the same amount, like $10 right now, you're only reaching half of your audience compared to your past campaign. That's already a bad thing, because everything starts from the very beginning. If lesser people come into your funnel, of course, there will be lesser results and the cost per result is going to come up high. So this could be another possible reason why, especially if you have been running ads for a while, all of a sudden the cost per result become very high. These are all the metrics that we will be looking at first. So if it's because of the CPM, I always like to recommend my client that let's observe for another few days or a week, because usually these things come and go. CPM goes up and come down, especially if it's a very short period. Say, for example, Black Friday, for a few days, the CPM is going to shoot up very high. So that could be a reason why your ads is very expensive. So if that's because of that, we can do a few things. We can either reduce the budget to shelter through this period, or, we can just keep running, because if we know that even though the CPM is high, we're still going to get result because it's really the season where people will buy things, then at least you know what kind of decision you're making based on. Instead of like, oh, it's too expensive, it's not working, let's kill it. That's really the bad thing. All right. So yeah, these are the two metrics. Already we can see a lot of things from there. And of course, followed by the frequency. Well, if you're running top of funnel campaign, we want the frequency to be below 2 if it's possible. If you are running retargeting, we want a frequency to be between 3 to 5 to be ideal. But of course, we need to observe the business, and we need to look at the messaging that we have in both the top of funnel and retargeting. But essentially, this is the benchmark. If the frequency is too high, then especially for top of funnel, we usually apply exclusion. So we want to make sure that those people who have taken action on the ad are not going to see the ad again. So that's a way for us to really keep running ads to, reach new people. And when it comes to retargeting, we can do the budget adjustment in order to control the frequency over there. And then, of course, followed by the other action metrics, like how many link clicks you have gotten, and how many landing page view you have gotten, and eventually, what are the results that you are getting, what is the cost per result, these are all the things, especially, let's say, for example, if you're an e-commerce, the follow metrics are really important. Say, for example, you have got 1,000 people click on your ad. The next thing we'll look at is how many landing page view we have gotten over there. So let's say 1,000 clicks, and you only land probably about 300 people. That means it's a big gap. A lot of people lose. As we lost a lot of people when they click and they don't reach your website. So that could be a potential website loading time issue. So that's not the problem on the ad. It's the website loading time. Or if you have a lot of people lands on your website, but very little people click to add to cart. So that could be maybe the checkout process problem. There are many, many reasons for us to identify, in order to make our campaign works better. So this is how we analyze the performance of the campaign and make informed decisions. I'm just going to give you an example in general because I do not know what kind of business you're in, but eventually these are all the fundamental metrics that we look at. But just in case if you need help, all right, if you want us to go into your campaign and look at, analyze the data together and look at what are the things that we can do to take it to the next level, you can scan this QR code to book a 30-minute one-on-one Zoom call with me. So we're going to do 3 things together. First, we're going to build a dashboard, like all the metrics that we've gone through. We're going to build a dashboard in your ads manager according to your business. What are the important metrics that we need to track? And then we're going to analyze the metrics together. Like you and I, we're going to walk through the metrics together. So that will allow you to really understand how to interpret the data on your own so that you're able to do it in the future. And as we analyze, we're going to identify problems and we're going to build a plan on what are the things that we can do. Week 1, we do this. Week 2, we do this. So it's like a plan that you can execute in order to take your campaign to the next level. So yeah, if that's something that you're looking for, then scan this QR code and I look forward to work with you. All right. So the next question I have here is, this is a very, very common question. How do we improve return on advertising spend, ROAS, on Facebook ads? Now, I assume that you're running e-commerce business. All right. So there are many ways to improve ROAS. It's not just about dumping in more money, running more ads and all that, because the moment you scale in the wrong way, it's going to break the entire campaign anyway. So how do we improve ROAS? First thing first, I assume that if you're running ads on Facebook, you're getting positive ROAS. Okay. The next way for us to improve the ROAS is, before we talk about scaling, we need to optimize the campaign first. Now, what do we mean by optimization? First, we analyze the data to look at what's working and what's not working in your Facebook ads campaign. So first thing first, a few metrics that we'll be looking at. I'm just going to give you some ideas. Now, the first metric we're going to look at here is the CTR, link click-through rate. So as in like CTR link click-through rate, if you go to, I'm just going to quickly come in here, right? So this is the ad account. So if you go to columns, custom, click customize column, you're able to pull out all the metrics. So you can just go to CTR, okay, over here, go for CTR link click-through rate. Now, what is CTR link click-through rate? Essentially, CTR link click-through rate is the percentage of people who choose to click on the call to action button when they see the ad. So benchmark here is 1%. So if your CTR link click-through rate is low, but not too far until below 0.5, then you're still okay. But eventually, if your CTR link click-through rate is at maybe at 0.5%, for example, and you're still getting positive ROAS. So the first thing I would recommend you to do is let's try to, launch different ads, creatives, different directions, targeting different persona. We may even look at the entire campaign structure that you have to see whether we should apply the Andromeda structure whereby, we will have multiple ads in it. We need to define or determine the best way to test your creative and best way to scale whatever we have right now. So, but essentially, I just want to give you the idea. CTR link click-through rate is the first metric that we look at. If your CTR link click-through rate is low, right? Imagine you're at 0.5%. If you're able to launch new ad to reach 0.75%, you get what I mean? Assuming everything remains unchanged, you get 50% more compared to your 0.5%. Now you're getting 0.75. You got 50% more clicks on the front end by launching better ads. Do you think it's possible for you to get 50% more landing page view, add to cart, or even purchase on your e-commerce website, which is totally possible? So this is one of the first few metrics that we can use to really identify the best way to do this. So so CTR link click-through rate is to see whether your creative has got some opportunity that we can leverage on to take it to the next level, optimization. Now, the other thing that we look at here is the frequency. Of course, the CPM is something that we need to look at, but sometimes we know that CPM fluctuates, right? But if you identify that your CPM is actually way too high, just imagine CPM stands for cost per thousand impressions. Now, CPM is really something that we can't control, but essentially, it's actually it fluctuates according to the market competition. So during peak seasons like Black Friday, for example, the CPM is going to be high. So we understand that's a situation. But if you're running ads at the normal season and all that, and out of sudden your CPM jump from, let's say, $10 to $20, what does that mean? That means with the same amount that you're spending, you're reaching only half of the audience compared to the past. Eventually, the cost per result is going to be maybe 2 times more expensive because at the very front end, you're already reaching lesser people because it's the number game that matters. So yeah, we need to know. We benchmark based on previous campaign, but we need to know why is the CPM high. We will need to determine whether it's the peak season. Is there anything else in the settings that is preventing us from reaching the audience at a cheaper rate? We need to find out. Now, the next metric we look at here is the frequency. Now, essentially, when it comes to the top of funnel campaign, the frequencies, we want it to be below 2, as much as possible, as low as possible. Reason why is we want to make sure that the campaign constantly reach new people. Just imagine the top of funnel, the frequency is 4. That means it's being locked down to a bunch of people who might be seeing ads. So the first thing we need to learn how to do here is to exclude certain audiences from seeing the same ad over and over again. But of course, you need to also run retargeting. Another problem why a lot of campaigns are not doing well is because they don't run retargeting. Remember, it's very hard for anyone to buy from you the first time they go to your website. You need to remind them. You need to come back to them and say that, hey, I know you're here, you're interested, but why are you not buying? Let me give you a voucher for that. So yeah, these are all the things that you can do. So yeah, that's where we actually use the frequency to control. And on top of that, we have some other things like, like post-ad, or so-called post-click optimization. Say, for example, you have got 1,000 clicks, but only about 300 people lands on your website. Then we potentially have some website loading issue. So in that case, we probably want to make sure that we have a better loading time by optimizing the website speed and all that to see whether we can capture more people, because that's, like, I hope you're seeing what we are seeing right now. We are trying to find the leakages of the funnel and we're going to patch it. Yeah. Likewise, if you have very good landing page view, but very, very, very few people choose to add to cart, that means maybe the offer is not right. Maybe the checkout process is not optimized. There are many, many reasons. So first thing first, before we talk about taking it to the next level, because the question is really about improving ROAS, let's find out what's leaking. Yeah. So that's how we do things. Optimization has got a lot of angles to look at. That's why my best way of, like empowering any business owners or any meta advertisers to learn optimization is through one-on-one discussion. So if you are interested to find out what's working or what's not working in your meta ads campaign and to work together to find ways to improve it, I recommend that you scan this QR code and book a one-on-one discussion with me for about 30 minutes is good enough to start. So what we're going to do in these 30 minutes would be, first, we're going to build a dashboard according to the business you're in with all the metrics that you need to track. And with that, you will have, we save in your ads manager so that every time you want to analyze it, you can always go back to it, right? So once we have this optimized and saved, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to analyze the metrics together, like you and I. Going to go through all the metrics one by one, and we're going to find out, okay, what is the benchmark for this one? What is the benchmark for that one? How do we compare to previous campaign and all that to really help you understand the meta ads analytics part, which is very essential. So yeah, once we analyze, okay, we are definitely going to identify optimization opportunities or some leakages or some, like we might even find something that is really working well, then we would go double down. I'm going to build a scale strategy for you, but it really depends what do we discover in the campaign itself. So eventually we're going to build a plan about things to do. Like first, let's try this. Second, followed by this, and like so on and so forth. So yeah, so this is what we're going to do. And yeah, a lot of my clients work with me on a weekly basis or some on monthly basis because it really depends on your needs. So this is how you can really grasp meta ads analytics, because I wanted to do this as a course, but I can't, because this is really very personalized, because it really depends on what kind of business you're running and what kind of situation or structure that you're having. So it has to be a one-on-one learning. So yeah, if that's something that you're looking for, then I recommend that you scan this QR code, and I look forward to work with you. All right. So that brings us to the wrap today. I don't have a lot of questions, so we're just gonna, end a little bit early, just about 5 minutes earlier. So yeah, so that's what we do. Eventually, if you have any meta ads related questions, first thing first, please go to my YouTube channel and try to search for an answer. Otherwise, if you cannot find anything related, all you need to do is just post your question as a comment on any of my YouTube videos. And what I'm going to do is every Sunday night, between 10 to 11 p.m. Malaysia time, I'm going to screenshot a question and I'm going to answer questions live. You know, just to help you, hopefully, to give you better understanding about what are the possibilities that you can have to tackle the challenges that you're facing right now. With that, thank you so much for joining me. All right. And yeah, have an awesome week ahead. I'll see you next week. Good night. Bye.